Since I thought the moved, we were kind of anxious to get there. Too long Christmas.
Yeah, then we had that bad weather then one day.
Yeah, we went on vacation for a week and got home.
We need 1 day.
One Tuesday.
We had the bad weather 1 day.
Oh, one Tuesday.
Instead of being bad weather.
Oh, okay, I see that.
I just wonder if I should leave it.
I think I would leave a little bit of the wood, you know, if you're just gonna paint it so it looks like it's tar. So leave a little bit of tone marks on it.
And then maybe send the garbage in here with ice to show like more of a wind effect.
And they were going to fill them up.
Shorter.
Ship them down south and just let the water go down.
Yeah.
So am I.
Sounds logical.
That was, it was
Probably give it a,
60s in there sometime.
give it either a light, yeah, to give it,
Yeah, that was one.
make it light and texture a little bit darker, and or
We haven't been using it.
sponge it with the light.
Well, I think that's what I would do, you know, is follow his directions on how he's gonna, but what are you gonna do here to get this to blend in here?
You can get a set of tools out of it.
Yeah, see, I got a problem here too. Well, the white will help some. I don't know.
But you're gonna have to get this to blend in with
Yeah,
your
yeah,
neck.
yeah. So,
I think what you're gonna have to do is glue this on it
oh yeah.
and start working this,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, into here before you,
See, that's the other thing. See
I'm
right
trying to get up that night before.
the membership term.
How much are the dues, Sam?
$9. Cheap. We should raise them at least to $15.
You got the sound on? Yes. Nobody's gonna hear that.
watch out for them because you're, you know.
Well, I'm Art Tokash from Mandan,
To the neck, that's gonna-
charter member, the Flickertail Woodcarvers.
I would work on that.
And right now I'm working on some chip carving.
And then go from there. Because, you know, the rest of the bird is.
What was that? Did you happen to see a copy of John?
Yeah, you might have to get a little off. On here.
Pull that up a minute, will you, Art? There you go.
That place where we go during the summer, for wood carving, they have a pond that
Oh,
was ponds on it. Too bad you don't see it. You know why?
Thanks.
Sure.
Do you have lessons in ship carving?
Yep, I'm going to have a lesson here on the 29th and the 30th here in at the club room for beginners and for advanced people.
In other words, he's not sitting, he's half up in his knees.
Well, they're sitting with their mountains down over their further, they're more on the deck of the ring.
That's the part I missed,
Yeah.
just like this.
Yeah. Yeah, this one is a little better. You just took a little bit too much out of it. Well, I think you took a little too
Well, I guess there is a way out.
yeah, take a gallon, stick it in there, and glue it.
We look like he's sitting, he's one instead of standing up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
22nd is on a Thursday.
That's, Friday, the 22nd is Saturday.
I know we're gonna be here.
Okay. Would you like to sit down in Kirkwood with that, Art in the Park, Art in Winter? It's, just to promote wood carving.
Show some
Yeah.
character.
Take like this one here, look at the nice green on that wood.
Well,
Or this stuff here has no green on it. This is butternut wood on this one here.
I don't know.
But it's much softer, that's what cut with than that. This one here, you have take my time getting that.
Well, I think, okay. Go ahead.
I used to be from Shields, North Dakota, farmer down there and rancher.
Your name again is Al Turner?
Yes.
Related
I heard about this project here and it kind of interested me, so I thought I'd come over and see how this thing is really done.
Didn't you get a phone call yesterday noon from the dog?
Now I'm trying to get a dog shape like this one here. This might be a little bigger challenge than what I'm used to.
Take out large U-shaped gouges of wood for removing a lot of wood. There are also tools that are V-shaped. These are for making rather square corners in wood. They've all got a purpose, and right now I'm trying to sharpen them for use by the beginning carvers or the seniors. And I'm about halfway through the project now.
How about name?
Pardon me?
Your name?
Well, I'm Bob Pedigo.
Okay.
I've been a wood carver for about 2 years.
Okay. Yeah.
These are actually materials from the club's library. This is a study stick that shows the various steps in making a cowboy face. This shows the typical first step or first series of cuts, and this step shows some of the general planes in the face cut out. It continues on down to show the details in the eyes and the lips, and this bottom one is actually quite detailed. It's got whiskers carved in and the teeth, kind of a snarly lips, and kind of a rather hooked nose there. These are materials that the club actually purchases with funds, and therefore loan to any club member. In addition to that, the club buys videotapes. Part of our funds go to support the library each year, and some of those things are videos that carvers can take them home and view them at home. This one in particular is painting using an airbrush, and the title is Airbrushing a Wildfowl Carving. There are several other carvers, or tapes, I'm sorry, by really good carvers. This one here's texturing and painting of decoys. And the club has quite an extensive selection of tapes. There must be 15 or so there. We've also got a lot of books. And these are also for loan to club members. This one is on relief wood carving and lettering. We've got books on decoys, caricatures, animals, nativity scene, and so on, carving flowers and roses and chip carving, and I think just about any kind of carving there is, we have materials. These are some more books, carving books and patterns and things like that. Club also has in its library some, I'm sorry, that's locked, but in there we've also got old copies of Chip Chats, old magazines, wood carving magazines. We've got old newsletters from the club, and these are all available to anyone who wants to become a carver or become a club member.
He's one of our real quick learners.
I don't know if I should do it twice or however I should do this. I can do it, maybe you go ahead now, actually some of you can sit up and whatever. You can bring a chair around, and then, now some of you can sit around, and then some of you can stand, and then I think maybe everybody can see. Okay, so this is hopefully you're pretty close to being in that position, right? Roughly. Now, what I want to show you to how we're going to do an eye of a simplistic face, I should say, which includes a rather simplistic eye. And now on some of those, I think every eye is different on those 4 or 5 that I have out there. And the fact is, I think every eye is different on every one that I make to some degree. So what we're going to do is you first kind of have to decide where the stocking cap is. And this is what happens if you try to go too deep with a small detour, so you just tear it all out. So I did that for back there. Can't fool Meg because she knows all about these little tricks. Okay, now stocking caps, obviously, if you have a stocking cap on, it sticks out beyond the rest of your head, right? Again, as I was telling you as I was going around, the only way to get the arm to stick out from the rest of his body is if you remove the parts of wood from around the arm, right? Well, the only way to make the stocking cap stick out is remove the parts around it, right? And so you need to make a stop cut first and then go up like that. And I'm not going to worry about that top half tonight. So I'll just... Now, you've got to get some roundness in there. Now, one of the things, if you look... God forbid using my face here as an example. But I suppose mine is rather typical. But, your face, a lot of times is likened, as you come up here, it comes to a point, right? With your nose and that type of thing. So, when you have the nose up here, you can't leave all this wood up here and expect to make the nose over here. So that means the first thing you've got to do is you have to angle this face this way. You've got to shave this all down so that this face, comes up there like this. Now, we're only doing half of it, so if I cut the, 10 you're doing here, we have to come to there like that, right? And then once you get behind the cheekbone, it kind of flattens out except for this old ear. So, now, one of the things, whether you're doing caricatures or not, the front of your ear is roughly the center of your head. Okay? So, you need to decide where you're going to put this stuff. So, go ahead here, look at his face, and here's, right about there now, that's the front of his ear. Okay? Oh, I forgot to do this. I was telling you about this, but I didn't do it, all right? Now, see, I shaved this back. That means his cheekbone. Remember I said this angle's back here from your cheekbone right on up this way, right? And then you're kind of a flathead back here. Except for the ear sticking out. We should have one of those kids here that's got his head all shaved up. Okay, so that's what I did there. You see that? How that angles towards there like that? And it's right now it's just flat. So we're going to put the eye socket in there. If it wasn't for this eye socket, this pretty much would be, all flat in there. And so now, out in front of this, we're going to have some hair. Right? This part right there. And then behind, this is now like the front of the ear. And a generic ear, now the bottom of my ear is roughly, right somewhere near the bottom of my nose. Right? And where's the top of the ear? Roughly, eyebrows somewhere up there. They give or take a little bit depending upon the ears. So what we're going to do now is, so let's say if this is where his nose is going to be. Just because I have a saw cut there doesn't mean that really has to be the end of his nose. It's short. Sometimes when I'm buzzing here, I'm not really worried about exactly where that nose, again, noses vary, right? Some people have longer noses, some people have short noses, fat noses, skinny noses, no noses, and that kind of stuff. So you know, that means the bottom of my ear is going to be right there, right? And, well, you can see all of them. I did try to carve somewhat of a, you know, his forehead in there a little bit. But we're going to have part of his ear, his stocking cap. Now, you can decide where you want to do this. In this case, I'm going to make part of his ear covered with the stocking cap. So that means now that your ear angles back like this. So what I'm going to do now is just take and draw this line back here like that. That might look like an ear bead eventually. Now, what am I going to do to make that ear stick up? Right, so I'm going to make a cut in there, and then I'm going to take the wood out. People come up and worry about how you carve the shoe, then you're carving tail. What I strive for, and probably a lot of the other people strive for when you're carving, is that the overall character of the carving should create some kind of message that you know the rejected person or dejected or whatever type of person. But there should be some mannerism about him or some character or something about him that tells the whole concept. And anybody that's going to stand and criticize how you did the ear or how you did the shoe, blot it out. No. It's south of me. No, it's south of me.
Oh, south of me.
Mm-hmm. You know, what's the name of that? Okay, if you go, you know, where the big boy is, you go down 26th Street.